to another Flexi Friday. Today is a little bit different. I am going to be laying the foundation of how to build a strong core. So this is going to be ideal for people with low back pain, sciatica, for diastasis-recti, post-natal, you name it, or if you just want to build a strong core. Why don't you come and join me and I will show you in lesson number 1 how to start. A little secret today. We're going to do some deep core strengthening. So for example, for those who have like lower back problems, sciatica, diastasis-recti, oh my, anything that is problematic, usually the core, when strengthened, is something that's going to improve your condition. So we're going to work on what's called the local muscle system. Local muscle system are the muscles that run up and down the length of the spine, the erector spinae, and they are the ones today that we are going to be switching on. So we're going to start in this position on our back with our knees in a 90-degree position. So get yourself comfortable, knees in a 90-degree position, and I'm going to teach you first of all how to find something called your neutral pelvis. Neutral pelvis. So what we're going to do, we're going to become aware first of all of our pelvis. So it's something that we're not really aware of like as we walk around unless we're in pain. So the pelvis will rock anteriorly and posteriorly in this flowing motion. And what we're going to do, we're going to do exactly that. We're going to rock the pelvis all the way to the front. So I'm not lifting my bottom off the floor. I'm just creating this little rock backwards and forwards. So perhaps place your fingers onto the pelvic bone here, just onto the hip bone, and you'll feel that rock backwards and forwards, that posterior to anterior rock here. And what we're going to do, we're rocking to the extremes right now, all the way to the front, all the way to the back, and we are going to find the middle of those two extremes. So let's give that a go, shall we? So we're rocking, and then we're going to find the middle of those two extremes. That's always going to be step number 1. Neutral pelvis is step number 1. Step number 2 is in this position we are going to adopt something called abdominal hollowing. That's going to feel like you have a corset going round your ribs. Please don't panic. All you're going to do is you're going to draw that belly button in by about 5 to 10%, drawing it in towards the spine, and all of a sudden you've got this like little bit of a hollowing or a bracing, as it were, that just happens around the midline of the body. So my pelvis is neutral, number 1. Number 2, I've adopted abdominal hollowing. Now it might be in the middle of you doing that you've lost your pelvis. So feel free, again, to find that neutral pelvis, tummy in 5 to 10%, and we're going to hold. Try and breathe, try not to hold your breath. And release. Now when you release, you can tell where your natural state of your pelvis is because and your tummy goes again. So those number 1 and number 2 are going to be the fundamental foundations of core work. So when I say to you number 1, you will know, neutral pelvis. Here we go, number 1. Number 2, abdominal hollowing, feeling that you've got a corset around you. And with every exercise and movement we do, we will always have these in place. So first of all, we are going to do some glute bridges. Now I'm only going to give you a couple to do today because we can do a part 2 and a part 3 and we can just continue on with this. So we're going to do some glute bridges. Now glute bridges when you see people in the gym, they're just lifting their bottom up to the ceiling, hoping that that's going to do something. Now we're going to take this the next level up. So we're going to adopt, number one is neutral pelvis. So rocking that pelvis to and from, becoming aware of where that middle ground is. Number two, abdominal hollowing. Number three, I want you to imagine that I've placed a coin in the crease of your bottom, just here, and you are not going to let go of that coin. And so what that does is, your glutes do this. You've just switched your glutes on. So let's go number one, neutral pelvis. Number two, abdominal hollowing. Number three, coin in the crease. All of a sudden, whoa, what on earth is this? And we're going to lift without compromising the ab hollowing, the pelvis, or dropping that coin. It's going to be one of probably the hardest things you've ever done, and yet it looks so easy. So we're going to do that again. We're going to find our neutral pelvis. Numero uno. Once we're there, number two, ab hollowing. Number three, coin in the crease of the bottom. All of a sudden, glutes are switched on. And we're going to lift to the ceiling without compromising any of those 3 points. You may feel that you can't breathe. And return. Well done. Now we're going to do that for a few more times. Number one, neutral pelvis. Number two, ab hollowing. Number three, coin in the crease. Number four, without compromising. Now you should be holding for about 8 seconds. And we'll slowly return back to the floor. And rest and release. Well done. Now, because this looks so easy, you think, why is this so hard? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. To switch on the local system of your core muscles is very, very hard work. So please don't panic that you are dysfunctional, because you're not. I train so many clients in this, but it's really good to see progress. So I want you to do that for a further, probably about 10 per day, and you'll start noticing a difference within the deep muscles of the core. So that will play out in balance, that will play out in lower back pain, that will also play out in strengthening any diastasis-recti that you have, which is the splitting of the abdominal wall during pregnancy. So this is something postnatally which is highly, highly important. So we're now going to level up. Yes, my friends, there is a next level. So we are now going to come into number one, number two, and then wait for it. So number one, pelvis. Are you there? Think so. Number two, abdominal hollowing, feeling the corset. Now number three is we are going to raise our right leg off the floor. Now you are going to do that without, your hips are going to want to almost, your left hip's going to want to dip and your right hip's going to want to bring the leg up. Now we are going to lift that leg from the core rather than from the pelvis. So you're going to go, yeah, that's easy, I can just lift my leg. Now you notice when you lift your leg exactly what happens, what drops and what doesn't. So let's give this a go. Number one, neutral pelvis. Tick. Number two, abdominal hollowing. Tick. Number three, wait for it. And return. Oh, see, that's, for me, even that is slightly hard. because, as I say, when you lift up your leg, your pelvis is going to want to be all over the place. Your abdominal hollowing goes out the window and you compromise the neutrality of what is happening in this area here. So let's go again with the left leg. Number 1 is neutral pelvis. Number 2, abdominal hollowing. Number 3, lifting this leg. And return. Good. Well done. We're going to do that again on the right hand side and on the left hand side. We're just going to hold it just for a few seconds longer. So, numero 1, neutral pelvis. Numero 2, abdominal hollowing. Number 3, and return. Good, and breathe. Whew. Now try not to hold your breath through this. We don't want anything called Valsalva manoeuvres, which is you're holding your breath in the middle of an ab hollowing, because that is not healthy at all. So we're going to go again on the left hand side. So number 1, neutral pelvis. Number 2, you got it. Number 3, left leg. Focus and concentrate. Don't compromise that pelvis. You almost feel like it's a crane coming from the core right here. And if you touch your core, it's pretty solid. And return. Good. Well done. Now I challenge you to do that through the day, your glute bridges and lifting your right and your left leg. Now do about 8 on the right side, 8 on the left side. Keep practicing and you'll notice a difference. Also, when you're standing, try and be aware of your pelvis as to where it sits. Do you have an anterior or posterior tilt? Now, if you do, that's naturally going to cause problems on your posture. So what we want to be doing is during the day is to also making sure that you've got your pelvis in a neutral position. So when you're cooking the dinner, when you are picking up the kids from school, when you're doing your makeup, whatever it is, check in on the pelvis. Where is it sitting? Now, if it is sitting out of alignment, just adapt it very slightly and try and hold that in place. Because what happens is when your whole center line of gravity is in one stacking above each one, that is where you're going to find harmony in your body. Lower back pain will disappear. So postnatally, this is going to be one of the most important things for you to adapt into your life. Well, I hope this has been helpful for you. This is building a deep core, part 1. Look out for part 2, where we'll be leveling up even more. Well done today. Keep up with those exercises and I'll see you next time.